Look closely at the space around you right now. It appears solid, fixed, and unyielding, a permanent stage where the script of your life is already written. But physics and ancient wisdom tell us a completely different story. Right now, vibrating just beyond the narrow spectrum of your physical sight, lie infinite parallel versions of your reality. There is a timeline where your financial ceiling has completely shattered, a timeline where your body is radiating vibrant health, and a timeline where you are deeply, unconditionally loved. They are not far away in space or time. They are right here, existing as waves of pure probability in the quantum field, waiting for a conscious observer to collapse them into physical form. Yet day after day, the majority of humanity remains locked within a single exhausting loop, recycling the same frustrations and wondering why their life refuses to change. The truth is, you are not trapped by fate, destiny, or bad luck. You are trapped because your biological and energetic system is still broadcast tuned to the channel of your past. To truly comprehend the mechanics of a quantum shift, we must first dismantle everything we have been taught about how reality is constructed. We have been conditioned by a Newtonian worldview to believe that life is a series of cause and effect events, that we must labor extensively in the physical world to manipulate matter, and that if we simply push hard enough, we can force circumstances to change. In this framework, manifestation is often reduced to a desperate game of desire. People believe that if they want something badly enough, if they look at their vision boards with enough longing or scream their affirmations with enough intensity, the universe will eventually take pity on them and hand over the keys to a new life. But this is the foundational misunderstanding that keeps millions of seekers completely paralyzed in their old loops. The quantum field is entirely indifferent to your longing. In the language of subatomic physics, raw desire carries an energetic signature of lack. When you want something desperately, you are implicitly broadcasting to the universe that you do not have it. You are signaling empty space. Because the quantum field acts as a perfect, unblinking mirror, it does not respond to what you want, it responds strictly to what you are currently radiating. If your core frequency is one of waiting, searching, and needing, the field will faithfully materialize more scenarios that require you to wait, search, and need. You cannot trick this responsive intelligence with superficial words. You can spend hours every morning reciting mantras of abundance, but if the moment you open your eyes, your stomach knots with financial panic, the universe reads the knot in your stomach, not the words on your lips. The dominant signal always wins, and that signal is generated by the full-blown, integrated state of your entire biological system.
Why is it so profoundly difficult for the average human being to alter this internal signal? To understand this, we must examine the intersection of quantum mechanics and cognitive neuroscience. The human brain is essentially an organic supercomputer, and by the time we reach adulthood, roughly 95% of who we are is governed by a series of hardwired subconscious programs. These programs consist of emotional habits, conditioned reactions, ancestral survival traits, and deeply buried trauma responses stored directly within the physical tissue of the nervous system. When you decide with your 5% conscious mind that you want to step into a magnificent new timeline of prosperity or love, you're essentially trying to steer a massive cargo ship with a tiny plastic paddle. Your conscious mind is shouting for wealth, but your subconscious mind, which controls your heartbeat, your hormonal balance, and your instinctive behaviors, is running an ancient script that equates safety with scarcity. To the subconscious mind, the familiar territory of your past is the only zone where survival is guaranteed. Even if your current reality is broke, unfulfilled, or lonely, your subconscious clings to it fiercely because it represents a known environment that you have successfully lived through. A new timeline, filled with sudden abundance or radical freedom, represents the terrifying, unpredictable unknown. Because the brain's primitive survival mechanisms view the unknown as an existential threat, your biology will actively manipulate your thoughts and actions to self-sabotage your progress. This is why people loop. You can change your job, your relationship status, or your geographical location, but if the internal observer running the 95% autopilot remains unchanged, you will inevitably manifest the exact same emotional dynamics in your new environment. The timeline cannot shift until the observer does.
This systemic disconnect creates what we experience as internal friction or resistance. Resistance is not an abstract psychological concept, it is a literal chemical state within your body. When your nervous system is chronically dysregulated, bracing for disappointment, hypervigilant against failure, or swimming in cortisol, it projects a chaotic, fragmented wave into the quantum field. In advanced physics, this is known as destructive interference, or noise. It scrambles your broadcast, ensuring that the waves of potential cannot collapse into a coherent, stable reality. To overcome this noise, we must look to the timeless principles of frequency, harmony, and energetic geometry. Great minds throughout human history have recognized that the universe is not a chaotic accident, but a highly ordered matrix structured around specific vibrational codes. The legendary inventor Nikola Tesla famously asserted that if you only understood the magnificence of the numbers 3, 6, and 9, you would possess the absolute key to the cosmos. These numbers are not arbitrary symbols, they represent the mathematical vectors of the vector equilibrium and the non-physical flux fields that govern how energy manifests into material form. Reality organizes itself around divine harmonics, sacred geometry, and precise numerical constants like 777 or the golden ratio. You are not an isolated entity navigating an indifferent world. You are a complex frequency generator embedded within this highly responsive, intelligent field. Your thoughts are electric, your emotions are magnetic, and together they create an electromagnetic signature that either aligns with your desired timeline or actively repels it. When you are in a state of internal division, thinking one thing while feeling another, you are out of sync with the universal geometry. You have been broadcasting a distorted historical pattern for so long that you have mistaken that pattern for your actual identity. But your true nature is the field itself. You do not have to fight the old pattern. You simply have to understand the mechanics of how to withdraw your energy from it. How do we successfully withdraw our attention from the old loop and bridge the gap to the new reality? The answer lies in the profound practice of somatic embodiment. Embodiment is the absolute antithesis of intellectualization. It is not about thinking about your ideal future or analyzing how it will happen from a place of logic. It is about instructing your physical body, your breath, your posture, and your cellular structure to live in the chemistry of that future right now, completely independent of your current material circumstances. You must systematically teach your nervous system that the breakthrough you are seeking is already a safe, familiar, and established reality. This requires an absolute refusal to let your external environment dictate your internal state. If you are shifting into a timeline of absolute abundance, you must practice navigating your world with the relaxed, spacious posture of someone who is completely taken care of. When a financial bill arrives, instead of allowing your throat to tighten and your breath to shallow into the old panic, you must deliberately soften your muscles, breathe into your lower belly, and circulate the emotional energy of trust and flow. If you are shifting into a timeline of deep love and connection, you cannot wait for a partner to appear before you open your heart. You must dismantle the defensive armor around your chest now, practicing vulnerability and emotional courage in your everyday interactions. This is the great paradox of quantum manifestation that the rational human mind struggles to accept. The material world is not the precursor to your internal shift. It is the delayed consequence of it.
You do not wait for the evidence to arrive so that you can finally feel grateful. You practice the profound emotional signature of gratitude ahead of the evidence, and the quantum field, recognizing the completed frequency, collapses the corresponding timeline into your physical sight. Reflection happens when the internal signal becomes unshakable.
The primary reason people fail to sustain a quantum shift is that they treat manifestation as an isolated, occasional performance. They will meditate for 20 minutes in the morning, touch a state of coherence, and then spend the remaining 16 hours of their day reacting to traffic, gossiping at work, worrying about inflation, and marinating in scarcity. They are attempting to overwrite a lifetime of conditioning with a temporary ritual. True quantum transformation demands a lifestyle of continuous micro-alignment. The quantum field does not measure the grandiosity or the physical size of your actions. It measures the purity and coherence of the intention behind them. A singular, quiet moment where you catch yourself slipping into an old judgment. Pause, take 3 deep breaths, and consciously choose an emotional state of ease carries far more vibrational weight than a frantic, desperate weekend retreat designed to force a breakthrough. You must treat your everyday life as the ultimate training ground for your frequency. Every ordinary interaction is a choice point between your historical loop and your potential timeline. When you choose to eat food that respects your biology, you are signaling the health timeline. When you choose to speak your truth with clarity instead of shrinking to please others, you are signaling the sovereignty timeline. It is completely natural to wobble. Falling back into old neural pathways does not mean you have failed. The true power of a conscious creator does not lie in a flawless, interrupted performance. It lies in the speed and grace of your return. Every single time you catch your mind drifting into the old, familiar suffering and gently, lovingly steer your awareness back to the frequency of your highest timeline, you are physically rewiring your brain and building the energetic capacity to sustain your new world.
To permanently live within your chosen reality, you must develop a comprehensive roadmap for long-term sustainability. This is not a race with a defined finish line. It is a continuous, beautiful unfolding of your own creative consciousness. First, you must establish a morning routine of deliberate, energetic tuning before your attention is hijacked by the digital demands of your smartphone or the external environment. Sit in the quiet space of your own mind and declare the exact frequency you intend to bring into the day. Will it be the frequency of struggle or the frequency of effortless flow? Second, utilize sacred anchoring devices to keep your subconscious aligned throughout the day. Whether you resonate with specific musical sound frequencies, geometric symbols, or specific numeric sequences like 3, 6, 9, allow these tools to serve as visual and auditory alarms that remind your system to return to coherence. Third, curate your energetic environment with immense discipline. We are deeply social, empathetic beings who naturally co-regulate with the frequencies around us. Therefore, you must surround yourself with voices, communities, and environments that reflect the timeline you are stepping into, rather than the one you are leaving behind. Finally, activate gratitude as your permanent lifestyle amplifier. Gratitude is the ultimate quantum code because it carries the distinct emotional frequency of a victory that has already occurred. When you live in a constant state of appreciation for the unmanifested future, you accelerate the collapse of the wave function with astonishing speed. You must ultimately realize that you are not separate from the quantum field, manipulating it from a distance. You are the field, you are the wave, and you are the observer. When you alter your internal frequency, you are not asking life to change. You are radically transforming into the very essence of life itself.
The grand illusion of human existence is that we must hunt, chase, and fight the world outside to secure our happiness and abundance. Yet the quantum truth remains. You will never possess what you are chasing. You can only experience what you are currently embodying.
Your external life is a flawless, uncompromising mirror of your internal state. To achieve a magnificent breakthrough on the outside, you must surrender the battle with your current circumstances, step out of the victim role, and possess the courage to become the breakthrough within. If something deep within your soul resonated today, and you are ready to permanently exit the exhausting loops of your past, I invite you to anchor this shift. Do not simply consume this information. Take an active role in your evolution. In the comments section below, name one emotional habit you are releasing today and declare the new frequency you are stepping into for the next 24 hours. Surprise yourself by performing one small act that belongs exclusively to your highest future self. If you are ready to continuously raise your baseline and play consciously within the field of potential, hit like, share this with someone ready to wake up, and subscribe to join our growing collective of conscious creators. Keep your signal clear, keep your body in coherence, and watch how the universe responds to who you are.